Space may be referred to as the final frontier, but the truth is we know way more about space than we do our own oceans. Hi, we're Creepy Stir Fry. The topic I picked for today is underwater mysteries that will keep you up at night. So let's get into it. From the First World War emerged a story that will keep you wondering. The U-28 creature story is that of an enormous reptilian creature sighted once and only briefly in the North Atlantic. The animal was seen by a German submarine whose crew spotted it. It's described to resemble an enormous aquatic crocodile, some 60 feet in length. It had 4 limbs, webbed feet, a long tail, and pointed head. What happened was a large submarine torpedoed a British steamer carrying cargo. The boat sank swiftly, but moments after it completely submerged, there was an explosion. This shot pieces of debris, among them a giant aquatic animal, out of the water to the height of approximately 80 feet. Apparently, the suite was seen by the captain, chief engineer, and the navigator. Normally, I'd be skeptical of this story, but this was all documented in the captain's logbook, and it's highly unlikely that this would have been lied about during a time of war, unless they truly believed it. The fact that he recorded this incident in the official logbook lends to its credibility. Let's talk about sounds. The bloop was first discovered in 1997, and scientists are still baffled at what it could be. Take a listen. This was heard at the remote part of the Pacific Ocean near the southern tip of South America and detected by several hydrophones. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, described the sound as loud enough to be heard over 5,000 kilometers or 3,000 miles. Many have concluded that this sound is simply icebergs dragging on the ocean, but in 2002, Christopher Fox of NOAA speculated that it could have been an animal. There is also the Julia sound, which, again, captured by NOAA in the Pacific Ocean in 1999. It was so loud that, like the bloop, it could be heard from a range of about 3,000 miles. Take a listen. It almost sounds like howling. The sound lasts approximately 15 seconds, but what do you think? Then there are tales of the black demon shark, a shark that has been spotted off the coast of Mexico. First spotted by fishermen in 2008, it's estimated to be 60 feet and has been seen several times. It's said to resemble a great white shark, only darker in color. Could this be the long-lost Megalodon? Maybe. And there's actually a movie based on the shark called The Black Demon. I haven't seen it, so if anyone watching this has, let me know if it's good or not. Located just east of the Philippines in the Pacific Ocean, the Mariana Trench is believed to be the deepest part of the ocean. In fact, you could stick all of Mount Everest down there and still have an additional 7,000 feet on top of it. How do we know that? Well, more recently, sonar technology has been used to determine its depth. That's where they send a sound to the bottom of the ocean and measure how long it takes for the wave to return. In addition to its depth, it's also the length of 5 Grand Canyons. So, yeah, pretty vast. What living creatures did they find down there exactly? In 2014, a new species of snailfish was detected at about 8,000 meters. In addition to that, there was a frilled sharks, fanged tooth fish, vampire squid, and goblin sharks. Frankly, we've seen a lot of animals down there with just the limited exposure we've had in the trench. So that begs the question, what else is down there? Could something bigger be down there? And that's where we get into the next topic, deep sea abyss gigantism. The term describes the tendency for sea animals to get larger the deeper you go into the ocean. So why would this happen? After all, wouldn't animals get smaller due to the increased pressure? Well, no. Because of their natural buoyancy, marine animals don't have to exert themselves against the effects of gravity. Another reason animals grow larger is the Kleiber rule, which states that larger animals have a greater tendency to be more energy efficient over smaller ones, resulting in a way more advanced metabolism. Especially in the deep sea, food is scarce, so there is an extra incentive to conserve energy and grow larger. And then, according to Bergman's rule, the average size of animals also increases as temperature drops. This is because animals in colder temperatures have larger cells. They also tend to live longer. This is because cold temperatures slow down their metabolic rate. Their metabolism slows down and they live in a relatively slow motion. However, because of such an abundance of oxygen in cold water, they're able to grow to enormous sizes. Probably the most famous example is the colossal squid, which was first identified in 1925. It's believed that at maturity they could weigh more than 1,500 pounds and come in at 35 feet in length. Leptocephalus giganteus is an extremely rare eel that has been believed to exist in the ocean depths. Only 2 specimens have ever been studied, and they were in the larva state, which, for one, was 6 feet long. And given that most eels are only 1/36 of the adult size in the larva state, can you imagine the size they would be as an adult? One of my favorites is actually the elusive megamouth shark. Found anywhere from near the surface to 15,000 feet or 4,600 meters, they weren't even discovered until 1976, which blows my mind because they are 5.5 meters or 1,800 feet in length. And as their name suggests, they can open their mouth very wide. I mean, up to 4 feet. And inside their mouth are 50 rows of teeth on the upper jaw and 75 on the bottom. But don't worry, they primarily eat plankton and jellyfish. So if something like that could go undiscovered until 1976, then what else is down there? Perhaps something larger and more menacing. And that brings us to the case of the cannibal shark. In 2003, a 9-foot great white shark had been tagged for research by scientists. But the tag was later found to have been washed up on the shore. So what did the data show? Well, what's shocking is that they recorded a sudden spike in temperature and also a 1,900-foot dive. A temperature spike that high could only be achieved by being inside the belly of another living animal. Now, what would or could grab a 9-foot shark and suddenly dive down 2,000 feet? A larger shark? Maybe. That brings us to the much debated Megalodon. Why couldn't it exist? Again, only a smallest portion of our ocean has been explored. We discover new species like the megamouth shark every year, and the Megalodon was estimated to be approximately 59 feet, given the teeth that had been found. That's about the size of a sperm whale. So what else could exist in the depths of the ocean? Well, many would say aliens. In fact, a lot of enthusiasts believe that you should look to the oceans instead of the skies. Take, for instance, the Baltic Sea anomaly. In June 2011, a Swedish group of explorers were setting out to capture images of underwater landscapes. However, the team encountered some serious challenges. Their detection device and camera gear started to malfunction. Mysterious electrical issues also messed with their sonar. Their once fully charged equipment became suddenly drained of battery. What they eventually were able to see was astonishing. It was an object that they concluded to be about 200 feet in diameter with unnatural design patterns. It was described as the shape of a mushroom and emerging 10 to 13 feet from the seabed. Lines resembled corridors and rooms, and behind where it lay was a 1,000-foot runway in the sand, almost as if it had crashed and slid. Ocean X sent down divers to document the object. Their conclusion was that it couldn't have been naturally made. There were perfectly circular holes drilled into it. There were sections that resembled steps. The scientific community is still baffled on what this could be. Some believe it's proof of alien life. I should mention that they also did take a sampling of the material. And when examined at Stockholm University, it does appear to contain earth materials like limestone. So that alone does baffle me, as if you look at the photos, it does not appear to be naturally made. I find it so odd that the academic community is so quick to dismiss the possibility of these creatures living beneath the ocean surface. But let me know what you think. So that's my topic for today. I found it very interesting during the research, particularly that I had no idea that the megamouth shark had only been discovered in 1976. And that strikes me as very surprising because there are so many of them. It's not like they're even close to being endangered. So the fact that something that large could exist in the depths of our ocean and us not know until 50 years ago blows my mind. What do you think?
Yeah, the deep seas are fascinating. It's here, obviously, on planet Earth, yet we know not very much about it. It seems like, if you go out in space and the James Webb and everything, we're learning a lot about our universe and our place in the universe and all that. But here on Earth, when you come to the deep sea, there's just so much we don't know. But there's also so much we discover, too. If what you brought up with the Mariana Trench, how deep it is, just the immense pressure, and it's deeper than Mount Everest is high. Those are some really cool stats. But what I think what it really comes down to for a lot of interests, including myself, is just what could be down there. And you just mentioned one of the things that is down there that we didn't know about. And there's other things too. There's, I think within the last maybe 50 years, they discovered coelacanths, which is a 300 plus million years old fish that we thought went extinct. This is a fish that lived before even the dinosaurs were around. So it begs the question with, what you brought up with the whole deep sea gigantism,
Yeah.
Could there be something else down there other than a giant squid, which is discovered, that we just don't know about? And that's what really fascinates me. Like, could there be a really large shark like a megalodon down there, or some dinosaur ancestor, or maybe some dinosaur that's just down there that hasn't been discovered yet? We know Mosasaurus passed away. We know, Megalodon, all those, are extinct, but
Do we?
maybe, yeah. And that's what's interesting about cryptozoology. It's like it's fiction until it's not, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm really interested in. And there could be, like we know there's sperm whales down there that eat shark, that eat squid, and they're massive.
Well, that's kind of like the black demon. Oh, sorry, not the black demon shark, but the shark that was eaten, the 9-foot shark that was eaten by something, and they say like potentially a larger shark. But I mean, what could be larger than 9 feet? I mean, that could actually pull something down 9,000 feet very quickly. I don't know enough about marine biology, but I don't know of something other than a larger shark, which wouldn't that be a megalodon potentially?
Yeah, I mean, we know orcas, they're apex predators, and they have gone after and killed great whites before. I think there's video footage of that. But are there orcas in the area that the alpha shark died? I don't believe so.
Because they're more Arctic, right?
Yeah, like you see them off Washington, and there's places like that. But where the 9-foot shark was located, I believe they're not there.
I think it was in Australia.
Yeah, it's right off Australia. Yeah. So, it could be another shark. Maybe 8 pieces of it. I know, when there's whale carcasses at the bottom of the sea, you see all these different animals, all these different marine life that are down there just devouring it, right? So it could be that, it could be sperm whale, it could be, another great white, or it could be something we just don't know about. If there's marine life out there that's not deep sea, we pretty much have a good handle of what's down there. Like we know Predator X, we know Mosasaurus, we know all those animals, they completely extinct, after, 65 million years ago. But in the deep sea, I don't know. It's just so untapped that there could be something down there we still haven't discovered. And that's what I find absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, and even outside of, first, so like the colossal squid, I think it's interesting too that those have been written about for hundreds of years, right? Like in folklore and stories of like the sea, and people always just thought they were sea monsters potentially, and then they weren't even really discovered until 1926, I think it was. I said. So, yeah, I mean, these things that are monsters like do exist, right? And then outside of animals too, I thought the alien angle was very interesting, and I think why not, right? Like if something were to come to our planet and wanted to be in hiding from us and didn't need to breathe our air or have the advanced technology, why wouldn't they go where we can't go, right? Like why wouldn't they go to the deepest of the ocean if they could survive there and coexist with us?
Sure.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more water than there is land here on Earth. We do have seismic activity. We do have radar. We do have things that are detecting what's in the waters. We have ports that are shipping things all over the world every second of the day. But there's still a lot of it too. Yeah, they could be down there. We know there's probably aliens based off just how massive the universe is, right? But are they here? I have no idea. Maybe, but if they are here and they are able to be, submerged and able to do whatever, that could potentially be it, right? If we can detect them with our naked eye, and if they're on land somewhere, we'd probably see them, right? But underwater, we probably wouldn't see them unless they're pretty conspicuous, if there's in an area that we know of, right? So that would be it's an interesting conversation, I think, especially since the UFO phenomenon and everything is really now coming to a fever pitch. You even have like Congress and places like that actually having hearings on UFOs and everything. Does that mean anything? I have no idea. But at least there's a lot of conversation around UFOs. And I think, a place that they could be is underwater, and even better, they could be under deep sea water. Now they have to deal with all the pressure and all that kind of stuff that we can't deal with. But if they're so technologically advanced where they can come here, maybe they're technologically advanced enough to deal with pressure in deep sea and other things you have to deal with when you're that far down in the water. So,
yeah, I think it's really interesting because I hadn't thought about that until I started reading about just the deep sea and how mysterious it truly is. Any other thoughts before we head out?
No, I mean, I'm just curious in the comment section, like, there's a lot that a lot of us don't know. And, there might be some, people who are a lot more well versed in this topic of deep sea. So post things, if you like this, give us a thumbs up. That'd be great too. But we're going to have more of these. But deep sea's awesome. And it just makes me want to research more, I think, because there is a lot still unknown about it. But I think what was brought up was great. And I think it's just a tipping point. I really do. I think there's just so much more.
Yeah, I thought the Baltic Sea anomaly was crazy too. And I literally just skimmed the surface of that one. But I would love to maybe do a whole video on that. I know there are videos out there that people just are able to dedicate, 20 minutes to just talking about that. So maybe that's something we do in the future. Yeah, so thank you. And like Tom said, like and subscribe. And we will be back with more videos. Thanks a lot.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.